Hey fellow gamers, Chatty Sisa here. If you remember, we talked about the Warner Brothers sale the last time around December, wondering who's going to buy them, whether Netflix or Paramount, because there are a lot of IPs on the line that are very dear to a lot of people. And I did promise to give everyone an update when there is something new. So here we are, as we now do have these updates. Those are not just about the confirmed buyer or some financials, but it is also about the industry's reaction and then what implications this will have on the employees and the public down the line as well. So let's review the details. The biggest update here is that Paramount has now officially confirmed that they are acquiring Warner Brothers Discovery in a deal estimated at around staggering $110 billion. And the shareholders have already approved the merger as well. So this is no longer just speculations or some rumors, and Netflix is definitely out of the picture. They did back out of the bidding war, unwilling to counter a huge Paramount offer, as they've considered it already financially unattractive at that point. The scale of this merger between Warner Brothers and Paramount is absolutely massive. A gigantic portion of modern entertainment and media will now fall under this new merged company. To give you an idea, this includes things like HBO, DC, Warner Brothers Games, Paramount Pictures, CBS, Discovery, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, CNN, Max, and a whole list of other connected studios, TV channels, streaming services, and IPs. We're talking here about franchises and brands that millions of people grew up with over multiple generations, whether that's Batman and Superman through DC, the Cartoon Network shows or the Nickelodeon cartoons, or even the more mature entertainment provided through HBO series like Game of Thrones. There are major game franchises connected to Warner Brothers games, which are also part of this sale, like the Batman and Harry Potter or Mortal Kombat games. Not to mention all the Lego games across several IPs. That's exactly also the reason why this whole story attracted so much attention over the last couple of months. Talking about the $110 billion alone wouldn't give you the whole picture though. In reality, when companies make acquisitions this huge, they usually don't just pull all that money out of a giant vault somewhere and pay everything in cash. A very large part of these mega mergers is normally financed through loans, some borrowed money, and various forms of corporate debt. In other words, Paramount, the company buying Warner Brothers Discovery, now also ends up carrying a massive financial burden connected to the acquisition itself. The amount we're talking about is a debt of $79 billion. So the newly merged company is now expected to carry not just the enormous financial pressure with these billions in debt, but also, and that's the important bit, the billions more in annual interest payments over the coming years. It's basically like buying a gigantic mansion with a mortgage that is so huge that people start wondering whether you can actually afford the monthly payments. And because of these concerns, the credit rating agency Fitch already downgraded Paramount's financial rating after the acquisition announcement, which is definitely not something investors like to see. The result is that once a company's rating gets downgraded, borrowing money becomes even more expensive, as the interest rates increase. Nobody wants to borrow you any more money, definitely not under good conditions. And investors start getting nervous about whether the company can realistically manage all of that debt in the long run. As you can see, the company is now under such pressure that what usually follows is They start looking for ways to save money very quickly, meaning cost-cutting, restructuring, and all the other nice corporate buzzwords that usually mean nothing good for the employees. Normally, when you merge two companies, much less such giants like Warner Brothers and Paramount, there will be logically an overlap in departments and the so-called back-office positions, where you suddenly see the same roles twice. Naturally, something will have to go, and jobs are then being cut. And according to reports surrounding the merger, Paramount has apparently already agreed to increased severance protections for Warner Bros. Discovery employees during the first 2 years after the acquisition. What that basically means, in simple terms, is that if employees do end up losing their jobs because of restructuring or layoffs connected to the merger, they should receive better financial compensation, some extended benefits, or additional support during the transition period. Most people usually look at mergers like this from the outside, mainly through the lens of franchises, actors, directors, or public figures in general, not necessarily the administrative staff who will most probably have to look for new jobs quite soon. But talking about the public figures, their perception and their reactions are not always in line with what the broader public thinks. There were quite a few viewers already who reacted cautiously optimistic, or at least relieved, that Netflix didn't end up buying Warner Brothers, and on the other hand, parts of Hollywood reacted almost like the apocalypse was coming. At this point, we can see Hollywood petitions against the merger that already gathered more than 4,000 names, including actors, directors, and producers, warning about monopolization, reduced competition, and political influence over media. Now, some of those concerns are, of course, absolutely legitimate. Fewer giant companies controlling larger and larger parts of entertainment is obviously going to have an impact on the industry. But personally, I find parts of this reaction quite ironic. We've spent years criticizing modern Hollywood for constantly inserting political messaging, lecturing the viewers, and rewriting established franchises instead of simply entertaining us with good stories. And then the same industry people suddenly present themselves as defenders against media influence. Naturally, a lot of people are simply not buying it anymore. It's one of the reasons why the reactions outside of Hollywood looked much more mixed. There are people who are worried about subscription prices increasing, fewer companies controlling entertainment, and possible monopolization. That much is true. But at the same time, a significant portion of viewers also openly said that they believe that many of these franchises would probably fare much worse under Netflix than under Paramount. Netflix in particular developed a reputation over the last few years for aggressive reinterpretations, controversial adaptations, and cancelling projects very quickly if they don't perform immediately. The fact that so many viewers feel this disconnected from parts of modern Hollywood already says a lot by itself. I'm wondering whether Paramount will be able to pay off that insane debt plus the huge interest, and what impact this will really have both on the industry as well as the public and the viewers. If the positives will outweigh the negatives, or if this is not going to end well. But what do you think about the merger? Do you think Paramount is the better choice than Netflix? Or should have Warner Brothers just been dissolved and sell all the IPs, TV channels and streaming services separately to various other companies? And what do you say to Hollywood's petition and their objections to political influence from media? Let me know in the comment section below, and if you've made it this far, please consider hitting that like or subscribe button. It will be very much appreciated. Thank you very much for watching, stay tuned and game on!